All right, time to bully a professional soccer player online. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Stigler. I'm a pro footballer performance coach, and today we're going to review Sergio Ramos's workouts. He has a bunch of exercises uploaded to the internet. He's really known for doing his gym exercises, and I think he really prides himself on taking care of his body and trying to be as athletic and also aesthetic as possible. And I love doing these because Sergio Ramos is never going to see this video and he can't take offense to what I have to say, so I can just be 100% as mean as I want. So hopefully we're going to give you guys some reviews. We're going to basically make this like a tier list type video where I'll rank them A through F. A obviously being the best, F being the worst. We'll get you a nice tier list for a bunch of these exercises, and hopefully if anything's too bad, I can give you some alternatives that will do much more for you than what these exercises do. So let's get into it. But actually, before we even get into it, let's just talk for a second, because I really want to make sure that you guys know that I'm reviewing these exercises because Sergio Ramos is obviously a world-class footballer. He's going to go down as one of the best defenders of all time. That being said, because he is so good at these things, he can get away with doing exercises that are less than ideal for his body. A lot of these exercises will not ruin your career as a footballer, but they will be a waste of time. And for someone who is maybe watching this video, whether it's you or someone else, maybe you guys are really fighting to get to that next level, whatever it is. If that's the next level on your high school team, and the next level on your college team, or you're trying to make it pro, whatever it is. So you need to be much more careful. You need to be much more particular about the exercises that you're doing versus someone like Sergio Ramos, right? So he can get away with something that's a little bit less ideal. That's not necessarily going to hurt him, So anyway, all that being said, I'm going to be nice to Sergio Ramos. I'm not really going to bully him. Don't worry. He's a tough guy. He can handle it. But we'll get right into it.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me.
Well, that was adorable. Yeah, so planks, obviously going to be a good exercise. I mean, that's been a staple since who even knows how long. Since the fucking Roman Empire. I don't know. But yeah, that exercise has been around for forever. It's going to be beneficial. I'll give it a B again because I think it's the base level of a plank. There are more beneficial ab exercises than a regular standard plank that you could be doing. You could be doing them weighted. You could be doing some type of row during it. You could be doing just about anything that could make it a little bit more difficult. I'm sure Sergio Ramos, if I told him hey, hold a plank for as long as you could, I bet he could hold it for 5 minutes at least, So it's once you get to that point, you probably should start doing some more difficult exercises where we are working on, weighted ab exercises or things where you're resisting a little bit more motion than just your body weight, right? So I'll give that one a B. Might bump it up to A because the kid was pretty cute.
I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or...
So he's got some deep range of motion step-ups right here, and I actually really like this one. It's deep range of motion because the knee is actually above the hip in the bottom position when his foot is on the ground, and that's just going to be really good at training deep ranges of motion of the hip, the knee, and the ankle. He's using chains. I'm cool with it. I have no idea how heavy those chains really are. I see really no reason that he wouldn't just use a barbell or hold some dumbbells, because I do kind of wonder how much that is limiting how much weight he can use. It doesn't look like he's really struggling too much to do this. So because of that, I'm going with a third B in the row. It's a good exercise. I just think that we could do it a little bit differently. But the chains look way more sick for a training montage. So, you give and take a little bit.
Want the glory, yeah. Don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. Just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life.
I do really like crawling exercises for footballers. I will say that I think before I was a little bit more anti calisthenic than I have been recently, and a big reason for that is because A lot of times, stiffer footballers will use weights and external load to get into deeper positions, but then obviously you're out on the pitch and there's no weights. You can't get into those deep positions without that external load kind of pushing you into it. So you can maybe get into it a little bit more passively, but not as much actively. So then you do calisthenics like that, and you actually are teaching your body how to get into those deeper ranges of motion without any assistance from any type of weights. So I do really like that exercise in general. And he's getting into deep ranges of motion, which is great. So I'm going with the fourth B in the row. I'm gonna be really picky with my A's today because I know Sergio Ramos has some good stuff out there.
Someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody.
Yeah, this is a bad one. This is a bad one for sure. That dumbbell at most is 15 pounds. I'm not even sure why he's holding it, if I'm being completely honest. The weird like pulsing in a mid-range of motion, I'm not sure what he's going for here, honestly, but pulsing in such a small range of motion with a weight like that in a wide stance and holding it out in front of you, but not really all the way out in front of you, like I think he's getting a burn in his quads. And I think he thinks that that's doing something because I can't think of a single reason I would ever give this exercise to an athlete. I'm sure it's difficult. I'm sure it burns, but I'm going to give this one an F, honestly. There's almost no reason that I could see to give this one to somebody.
Yeah, I just want to be great. Yeah, I just want to be great. Yeah, I just want to be great. Yeah.
This is one of those exercises that I see a lot on social media, and I just made a video talking about this one too. And I think that it's one of those where it's supposed to be an exercise to improve your explosiveness, and he's doing it, and because of the complexity and the fact that when you do a kettlebell clean, you have to decelerate that weight, it's not fast enough, but it's also not heavy enough. And it's also like just complex enough to make it look kind of like awkward and clunky. Like for me, I've never given this exercise to an athlete and I don't plan on it. Because of that, I'm going to give it a D. It's better than the last exercise, that is for sure, but I don't see it being useful to any athlete. That's not going to make you faster. That's not going to make you more explosive on the pitch. I hate this exercise. A bicep curl into a split squat has to be one of like my least favorite exercises of all time, because if you think about it for 1 single second, if that exercise, if that weight is heavy enough to challenge your legs, it is not heavy enough to actually do a bicep curl. There's no way that Sergio Ramos's quads can handle as much weight as his biceps can. Like, let's just imagine this for a second. If I'm doing a rear foot elevated split squat, like, for sure, I can handle 80-pound dumbbells, guaranteed. Not a chance am I curling those dumbbells. Sergio Ramos has some strong legs. He's got some strong arms, but nobody can split squat the same amount that they can curl. So, and these dumbbells look to be like max 30 pounds, right? So he's challenging his biceps in a single leg stance. And I've had people say this to me before because I always talk about getting strong in weird positions. But I'm not talking about your biceps. I'm not talking about being able to do curls on one leg like it's the circus or something. I'm talking about getting strong and working the proper joints and muscles in weird positions. So if he was doing something else in a single leg stance, like whatever, but it's a bicep curl. Like, I hate it. This is F tier for me, and it may be, I don't know if it's as bad as that pulsing exercise though, because at least he's doing the biceps. I don't know. It's F tier for sure. I don't know if it's the worst one we've seen yet. By the way, can we take a moment? Just appreciate this game. Moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. So this exercise, I think I'm gonna put in D tier, and the reason for that is because I know those med balls bounce a decent amount. I'm sure that's why he's using the pad to make sure that it doesn't bounce up as much. But if you see him doing it, it just doesn't look like he's like putting a lot of force into that ball. If he was taking a ball like a jam ball or one of those that just completely like dies when it hits the ground and throwing it down, that could approach B tier for me. But this weird like continuous like 50% effort ball slam, I'm gonna put this in D tier for sure.
This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it.
Now this one is great. I really like this one. This might be his first A tier exercise. So what he's doing here, he's got weight, so he's loading the hips. He's gonna bridge the hips up. It's gonna work his glutes, and then as he straightens out that leg, he's actually eccentrically loading the hamstrings, which is just a really good exercise for injury prevention and deceleration, which is one of the main ways that you see like hamstring strains these days, specifically in a hip extension position like he's got here. So this one is a really good one. I like this one a lot. I think you can do this one at high speeds as well, and you can even incorporate plyometrics that have like a negative shin angle. Like you could just do like a single bound, like from a half kneeling position, and you could work this in a faster manner as well. And then you'd have two really good exercises to prevent hamstring injuries and work on your ability to decelerate. So overall, I'm gonna give this one the first A tier. It took us 2 minutes in to get an A tier, but that's not bad.
Work in a mansion or basement, yeah. There's no replacement for persistence, it's a patience, yeah. In this life, I wanna be soaring to feel sunny.
Weighted pull-ups and weighted dips. I want to say C tier just because so often everything I see with footballers, it's every single time, every upper body exercise is both sides doing something at the same time. But that being said, in the proper training program, those are not bad exercises at all. I'd probably put them in B tier. Tricep dips I may put a little bit lower. Actually, tricep dips I'm going to put in C because like you're just working your triceps ability to extend, and it's like, why? What's that really going to do? I had someone talk to me on social media the other day. They commented because I was reacting to Matt Sheldon's workout routine, and he was talking about how he wouldn't spend as much time, if he could go back and talk to his older self, they wouldn't spend as much time doing like biceps and triceps and everything. And I said that I agree. And someone said something along the lines of like, yeah, but your triceps are like worked like when you're running, and like getting strong triceps can make you faster. And I just thought that was the craziest thing that anyone's ever said to me. I don't think that I've ever seen anybody get faster by doing tricep extensions. Number one, because like when you're running, you're actually not supposed to extend the elbow. Yes, you have the most minor tricep involvement when you do extend the shoulder, but it is so microscopic. And if you're doing tricep extensions, you're not working the same fibers that work shoulder extension. But anyway, besides the point, even if you were working those proper muscles, even if you were training the shoulder extension aspect of your triceps, getting that stronger just simply is not going to make you faster. And that was just the quickest tell that I'm like, you've never worked with anybody in your entire life, because I think you really underestimate how difficult it is to get someone faster and how specific you need to be about what they are doing. But anyway, rant over. I forget where we even were. I think I gave the dips like a C because of that. Yeah. I'm anti-tricep, all right? Don't forget it.
When it's pouring, and I'll fight till anxiety is boring.
So we have some short range of motion, shoulder elevated single leg glute bridges with some weight. I'll give this a B. I'm fine with it. He's doing it pretty explosively there, so I'm actually cool with it. It looks a little bit weird, and it kind of looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, but just like with like quarter squats, there's benefits to doing short range of motion exercises. Specifically a shoulders elevated glute bridge, that's going to train your ability to extend the hip. He's doing it in a fast manner, so he's working along the force velocity curve. I'll give it a B. I'll give it a B. Really, Sergio? That's what we're gonna do? No, this one's circus tricks. This is the worst one for sure. What's going on? I don't understand what the goal is here. With this type of exercise, like he's working on his landing mechanics, but he's doing it on a trampoline, so it's dampening the force when he lands. which is like the whole part of the overload when you're trying to work on your deceleration. Not to mention you're working on a surface that you're never going to see on the pitch. I just have no idea. This is like the type of shit that you see when you like take your little younger sibling to like the trampoline park and they're like, "Hey mom, watch this." Like this is the type of shit you see there. No, this is gonna do nothing. This doesn't even make it on the list of on the tier list. Honestly, I'm gonna disregard that this ever happened. I'm going to give that plank a C just because I think that a lot of it is, it's anti-rotation. I just think that we can work anti-rotation in a way that's a little bit more difficult for him. In that particular exercise, like he's barely resisting force at that point. He is on one leg. I just think that there are better plank exercises out there. Like for me, one of my favorite ones that I've been doing lately is a plank with an overhead pull down. That's just going to actually allow us to load it a little bit, and it's going to be a little bit more challenging in terms of resisting motion. So this exercise, the band is pulling him forwards, which means he's actually shifting his weight backwards onto his heel. But then he's also extending the hip, which usually would project you forward. So I'm not completely sure what's going on during this exercise, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, I think I'm going to give this one a C, just because maybe I'm missing something. I don't know, but to me, like that exercise where you drive through and then bring that knee up, that is a exercise where you're working on projecting yourself forward, and then that band pulling him forward just seems to completely disregard that. So, you know what? I don't think I'm missing anything. Why do I think I'm doubting myself? I'm going to give that a D. It's not a good exercise. So guys, this video is getting a bit long. Sergio Ramos has a ton of exercises in this routine. So if you want to see part 2 of bullying Sergio Ramos, I'm completely kidding. If you want to see part 2 of reviewing Sergio Ramos's workout routine, let me know in the comments. Let me know below. Again, there's some good stuff here. I'm being a bit harsh. But yeah, if you want to see part 2, just let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys as always, and I will see you next time.